Hey, smack 'em a gob, everybody. It is Hi, Dr. Fucking with me is
Slayer! Wadzilla, baby.
what's going on there, Wadzilla?
Not much, man. Off of work, getting ready to. I get to celebrate Thanksgiving tomorrow with the family. It's awesome. That way, I got the day after to fucking recover. So, getting ready to enter a 3-day weekend for me. And fuck it, let's kick it off with some fucking Slayer. Slayer.
Man music.
Yes, evil music for fucking people who like metal. I don't think Bushy likes Slayer.
No, I think he does. He's man. He's man.
No, he does no. That's what two things I think you'll never find. Well, you'll never see like a 7-foot redheaded Chinese dude, and you'll never find a Sammy Hagar fan that likes Slayer.
Well, I mean, Merciful Fate. He likes Merciful Fate. So why wouldn't he like?
Does he? Does he though?
Yeah,
Does he?
he went to go see him and everything.
Did he?
Yeah.
Don't believe it.
Yeah,
Don't believe it.
Bushy's not one of those wussies out there that says stuff like, I don't like Slayer, so unfriend me. Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, but Bushy did say that OU812 was better than Fair Warning.
Yeah, but
So,
he doesn't mean that. Nobody in the right mind would even think that. You know what I mean?
see, now you're making me feel bad because I called Child Protective Services and told him that he listens to Sammy Hagar and they took his daughter away.
He does think Limp Bizkit's Behind Blue Eyes is better than the Who's version. So yeah, he deserved that call.
Yeah, there you go.
You know.
But when I called the authorities, I did it with a wink. So there's that.
And the authorities are just as dumb as Mark and let him go. Speaking of Mark, Chuck Charles wanted me to a couple of things. Yeah, he wanted me to talk about because I talked to him today, and he wanted me to say this on the air. Mark. He said to me, Ralph, thank you for inspiring me to leave that piece of crap show free. And then he sent me a screenshot where Mark wrote, I don't like Slayer, so unfriend me.
Yes, I did see that post.
Who writes shit like that, man? Really?
I can vouch for that.
What a little drama queen. Always looking for a little drama. Who the hell cares if you like Slayer or not? I know I don't. I don't give a fuck what Mark likes. Seriously. Guy's got shitty taste in music in my world.
To help compensate for them losing, the 5 listeners because, Chuck Charles Manson left, I am going to go on Freeform Rock Podcast, even though I've never listened to one fucking episode because I'm not a masochist. But I'm going to go on there this Sunday. I don't know when it's going to be fucking aired, but I'm going to go on there to discuss the musical merit of Samuel Horatio Hagar's musical chairs with Mark Alden Taylor. And I thought it was so funny because he did say, you got to come to my show and do a Hagar album. Yeah. And so I picked musical chairs because that's the vinyl that he bought for us. I was like, fine, let's do that one. No, that one sucks. Well, how does that separate it from any of the other fucking?
Yeah, exactly. They all suck.
Yeah. So I just happened to pick the infamous one. You've all seen pictures of it. It had everybody sign it at Rockin' Pod. The best is when Eddie Fingers Ojaya sat down with us, and I had it like sitting in front of my laptop, and we got the cock going in Sammy's mouth. And we didn't draw that. That's on the original cover. but Eddie sat down. He put on glasses for a second, picked it up, looking to it. He was like, It was a priceless moment, man. I love shit like that with the people at Rockin' Pod. Good times.
Well, Ian, like I told you earlier, before you do Freeform, you should listen to the episode I did where we talked about balance, where I didn't even listen to Balance album. I just went on there and
Yeah.
told Mark off, and Mark the whole time was agreeing with me, apologizing for all the stupid shit he does. And then after that episode, he went on to he didn't learn anything. He's such a poser. He's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I get it. I'm wrong. And then he goes and does it again because that's what posers do.
Well, I'm taking one for the team. I'm actually going to listen to this fucking Hagar album. I'm not going to play that record, that I have because I ain't fucking on my turntable with that shit. In fact, I'm probably going to listen to it on somebody else's headphones. But yeah, I want to be able to write the best possible joke because I know no matter what I come up with, if I actually listen to that shit, it'll be 10 times better, than if I just guessed how much it sucked. I will actually know how much it sucks. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
It's probably not as bad as the other Hagar album because Mark thinks it sucks.
Yeah, it's probably real heavy. It's probably like the most satanic Hagar ever
Yeah,
had
yeah.
and shit.
Jimmy cracked corn and Mark hates Slayer and I don't care.
But we don't. We love Slayer. Yum, yum, yum. Slayer, Slayer, Slayer. Oh, but got no new we need to get some new iTunes reviews, you motherfuckers.
iTunes
I know that. Yeah, I know, and we need some new reviews to read. It's so slow over at iTunes that we haven't even gotten a bad Terrence review under a pseudonym in months.
Oh.
So that's when you know it's slow.
Is he gone?
I have not heard hide or hair from Terrence.
Okay.
He has not been on YouTube, and you know what? That might be for the better. That might be what's best for his mental health, and his dad's health. So, yeah, no Andrew Jacobs. Hopefully, he put both barrels in his mouth. But yeah, we haven't even got it like negative reviews from other people either. Sometimes we get legitimate negative reviews, and I love those. But I also love ones where you lather our ass. But remember, always say Ralph first. But if you can't do iTunes, leave one on Podbean. I can read those as well. But until then, let's go into the news and see what's happened in the last couple days because we just did a couple back to back, put them up. People are loving that shit. Excuse me. Yeah, we gave you a twofer on Thanksgiving. I hope you appreciate it. Well, Mick Box says, as long as I'm there, the band's going to sound like Uriah Heep. And I think that's kind of funny because Uriah Heep has many different eras, and to me, not one of them sound alike. Even though I like them. I like the new album. Have you heard any of that Color of Chaos?
That was like that and Look at Yourself. The last album, Look at Yourself, are like the two best ones I ever heard.
Yeah, but they sound nothing alike.
I don't, but those are the best albums, I think.
Oh yeah, no, good shit. But I think Uriah Heep is a hard band to pin down because all the eras are so different. But I'm all for him to keep going, man. I was thoroughly impressed when you and I saw him live opening up for Priest. I went back and listened to that album. I think it's like Living the Dream or some shit like that. I love that one. The new one I dig. And I'm all for them to keep going. I think they're going to be opening up for Priest again. I think it's Priest and Saxon on this new Priest tour that's starting up, I think, in April or something. They announced the first leg. So far, nothing in my neck of the woods. And I think there's one in Florida, but it's like Central Florida. So, but yeah, keep going, Uriah Heep. All right. Well, Zach Wild continued playing with Pantera permanently. I don't know why you would end it, he says. Interesting. Does that lead you to believe, Ralph, that there might be new music in the future?
I hope not. But, yeah. At the same time, what Black Label societies, nobody cares anymore.
Yeah. And he's probably doing pretty good playing with Pantera. I know Zach Sabbath is playing here in Seattle right around Christmas time. And I might try to make that because I've never seen Zach Sabbath. You did, right?
Yeah, and that's the last time I will pay to see Zach Wild. Well,
Oh,
I
yeah, I
gotta pay
know.
to see Pantera now.
Yeah.
I didn't think
But
about
that was because of Zach's manager, right? That wasn't Zach that offended you, right?
it. Yeah, it was his manager. But I mean, there was a part where he was screaming at me right in front of him. He didn't do shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that part.
Odd. Yeah, I still maintained Zach was one of the nicest guys I've ever met in the history of meeting musical heroes, and but his manager was a douchebag back then. That was Ozfest in the fucking '90s, I think. So, but yeah, I hope to see the Pantera tribute thing. Um, but if it comes down to new music, I would hope that would go on. That's when they would like release it under a different name, you know. But four great musicians, who knows what they'd come up with? But I can't see Zach writing in that style, you know. So that's where I think it'd be kind of weird.
I don't see it
Uh,
happen.
Mike Portnoy opens up about his return to Dream Theater, says it just felt like the time was right to do it.
Any
Um,
time was right to do it. Give me a break.
oh yeah, oh yeah. I think. I mean, I actually do believe that Mike's rekindled his friendship with certain members of the band. I don't know if it's the same with all of them. Maybe I'm just being pessimistic here. Uh, but they weren't doing that great, with Mangini. I mean, not bad, but Dream Theater's never been a band that sold a lot of records. They got their, niche audience and stuff. But they were talking about the possibility of, when they record again, will they do a sequel to Metropolis? And he kind of talked out both sides of his mouth on that. And, on one side, like, ooh, it seems like the logical thing to do. And they said, well, maybe that's why we won't do it. So I don't know. I would be interested to hear what new they do with them. But I got a feeling Jordan Ruin this would fuck it all up. What do you think? Are you anxiously awaiting new Dream Theater music with Mike Portnoy?
Not at all. Not at all.
There you
But
go.
I'll check it out when it comes out, and if it's good, I'll
Yeah.
go see them. But if it's not good, I'm not going to see Dream Theater anymore unless they release a kick-ass album. I really don't care, or unless they do a Metropolis Part Two tour. One of those nostalgia things. I'll go to that, or play all of Awake, or play all of what's the first one? What's the second one's called? Images and Words.
Oh, yeah.
Play those albums in full. I'll go see it. But if the new album doesn't tickle my sphincter, I'm not going.
Gotcha. Well, oh my God. Kith canceled its third show in a row over Paul Stanley's illness. Um, like, why would you have to cancel a show over Paul Stanley being sick?
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
he's singing the tapes anyway. What's the point?
yeah, I think it's the computer that has the virus.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Paul Stanley. I think somebody downloaded porn on the fucking Kiss computer. But
I'm not sure if there's any more dates left after this one, but I guarantee they're going to cancel all of them till Madison Square Garden, where Paul Stanley will miraculously feel better for those last.
ooh,
I have a feeling they're going to cancel all the shows up to Madison Square Garden.
interesting because it's not too long before that comes up, right? That's in December.
It's like I don't know, 10 days maybe.
Oh shit. Well, then you're probably right. You're probably right, and probably a way to spike up revenue. Maybe it's not selling enough, so they're doing this. But yeah, and they say there's no plans to reschedule these shows either.
Yeah.
For Canada. So, but who's really pissed? Besides all the Kiss tards north of the border, is Eric Singer and fucking Tommy Thayer, because that's 3 concerts they each lost $60 that they don't see over those shows. And, inflation and everything. Bummer for them.
Yep.
Ozzy Osbourne rules out performing in a wheelchair. Says, "What's the fucking point in that?"
Yeah,
and
no
I agree.
No,
I agree. And I'm glad. I hope Sharon, isn't like pushing that on him or tries to talk him into it, because that Phil Collins shit that was terrible. That was terrible and painful to watch. I just watched a couple of clips. I'm like, oh man, stop.
the sad part of this world we live in, if Ozzy does a tour in a wheelchair, he'll sell places out.
I don't know. Do you think he still would?
Yeah, because people are idiots. Look at Kiss.
Yeah.
Look how good Kiss is still doing.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
There are probably a bunch of fucking idiots there going, "You think he'll play Crazy Train?"
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, good.
I hope Ozzy plays Schools Out.
Yeah, exactly. They'll be like, "Is Randy Rhoads still in the band?"
Yeah.
Yeah, like fucking those fans even know who Randy Rhoads is.
I have no idea.
They probably think they saw Randy Rhoads. Hey, I think that was Randy playing up there. Meanwhile, Sharon says Ozzy deserves to be inducted into Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a solo artist. Which I wouldn't be surprised to see happen. What about you?
Well, they should let him in for Ordinary Man. I mean, right there. That's great qualification for getting in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Ordinary Man out.
Well, I kind of think like between her pull and especially like the sicker he gets, the more sympathy you're going to see, and then Rolling Stone will be like, "Oh, he was a genius. We always loved him."
Yeah.
So wouldn't be surprised by that. Trump's Rick Emmett dismisses Rush comparisons. Musically, we weren't trying to do the kinds of things that they were doing. And I concur.
Yeah, they were different than Rush, except for one song. I'll say one song very Rush-like was Blinding Light Show. The rest, no. The rest was very, good rock and roll, man.
What album's that on?
Rock and Roll Machine.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah, they're from Canada and they're a power trio, but yeah, I don't hear any of that shit. Triumph's more AOR,
Yeah.
There you go. Saw some footage of Anthrax singer Joey Belladonna's Journey tribute band in Satellite Beach, Florida, where I used to live just adjacent to that. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, fuck, man. He's playing this tiny ass bar, and either Joey really needs that money or he just really enjoys singing this Journey shit because it's a very small town, and it's a very small bar. Even if you sell it out, you're not going to make a lot of money. And I'm wondering, man, it could be a little of both. I think he really enjoys singing this Journey shit, because he's always loved Journey. But think of all the money he's losing, with Anthrax. If you think about it, when they do put out albums, he gets none of the publishing. So, because he doesn't write anything. So the only way he makes money is if they tour. And, there's no way they're touring anytime soon because Scott Ian's making more money playing with Bungle and Charlie's making more money playing with fucking, Pantera, and they're going to take care of them. Fuck the rest of Anthrax, fuck Frankie. I don't even think they know the guitar player who's in the band. I don't think they probably ever met, but that's got to be hard if you think about it. How else do you have money coming in, So
he played Pipers where I went to see him there. And that show in North Florida, wherever, he played again in Pipers the night before. But I was like, I'm not going to see this again. He plays too many later Journey songs, Raised on Radio crap. I mean, too
Yeah.
much of that crap that he didn't get into the journey I liked, and I wasn't gonna go pay to see that again.
Well, you got to think about it. I mean, it's probably smart business sense because most Journey people who would go see a Journey tribute band are the people that only know the Steve Perry shit, you know, and specifically more probably the fucking the Kane era, um, so you got to know your audience, and I think he knows the audience, and the other like 10% are Anthrax fans who just want to see Joey Belladonna. So
And that's why I will not go see him do his journey crap.
there you go. Well, Tim Bream went and saw him though. Sinking Stanley himself posted some cool pictures of him with Joey.
Okay.
I wonder what that cost.
$60.
Whew,
He was charging
man.
60. I wanted to meet him, and they told me $60. I was like, fuck you. I already met Joey before. I wanted to say hi to him, and oh, you're gonna do this shit? Fuck you. I ain't paying no $60.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I get it's tough for these guys too, but man, a fan's already paid for the ticket. They got to pay for drinks, their way there, and everything. And then you're going to charge them another $60 for 2 seconds.
Yeah, no,
Damn,
thank
I'm
you.
gassy. Sorry. Exodus Steve Zentro Souza on what keeps him motivated. He says, I owe it to the fans who still want to see us. And I thought it was cool. I saw they played Impact as Element for the first time, like since that tour. So that's cool. They're switching up the set list a little bit. Not my favorite Exodus album, but still, nice to see him changing it up. I'd go see Exodus again.
I saw him
That's
last year. I saw him.
yeah, yeah. Me too. Watched him with Will Carroll. It was a
Yeah,
good
the
time.
reason I went was really Death Angel. I didn't care less about Exodus or Testament.
Yeah, good time that I barely remember, and Will Carroll will back that up. Uh, Glenn Hughes, God damn it, I hate this shit. Celebrates 26 years of sobriety. And I said this before, but why do all these sober people feel the need to tell you that shit?
Look, I am sober, and I didn't write down the date I stopped drinking. I don't care. I don't give a fuck.
Well, it gets worse than that. It gets worse than that. Let me click on this story because on his post, he's got I've seen these kind of things. People I work with who are going to retire, they got these countdown clocks that count like to the minute how long it is to the retirement. And I can get that. You're happy, you've worked all your life, you're going to get away. It's a fun little thing. So he has an app that says he's been sober for 26 years, 312 months, 9,497 days, 227 910,000 hours. Like, really? You remember the second you stopped?
Yeah, well, I think he should drink a bottle of Jack to celebrate.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some people need to stop drinking. And, I know a lot of people think, I party all the time. Truth be told, anymore, seriously, I drink when the football game's on and when I record this show, and that's it. But I don't make posts about that shit. Dumb motherfucker. Just it's like I haven't hit my wife in 3 years. Who gives a shit? You're not supposed to hit your wife. You're not supposed to be an alcoholic. I don't know.
I said, beat your wife up. It's been 3 years.
Yeah, and then have a drink. Yeah, he earned it.
Rick Allen, her ass.
We're gonna get in trouble for that. I just saw there's some comedian that's getting canceled over that shit. He made a domestic violence joke in a new Netflix special, and now he's getting fucking canceled.
All right, well, let's talk about beating up a girl.
Yeah, we gotta find an album that's all about beating up chicks.
I'll beat up that chick, Mark Allen Taylor. She's weak. She's very weak. and
Uh,
and very Christian. Wants to beat up people. He's Christian.
yeah, but I mean, you wouldn't have to worry about jail time. I mean, I would just, give your defense attorney a copy of Freeform and they play that and, everybody sympathize with you.
He'd never get raped in prison because he's so fucking ugly.
Because he wouldn't shut up about Sammy Hagar. Nobody'd be able to get a hard on. Oh, God. So Coverdale-Page is reissuing their album in Japan.
Who?
Uh,
Oh yeah,
Coverdale-Page.
yeah. I just put up a news story about that tonight. Go check out my news story. I'll just say this, man. What the fuck happened with that album? I mean, it sold 1 million copies in the U.S. and then they just stopped promoting it out of nowhere. And the only thing that I can think of is that Robert Plant was really bitchy around that time when that album came out and kept bad mouthing David Coverdale. I don't know
Oh,
if
yeah.
it had something to do with it. There was plans of a Coverdale Page box set,
Yeah.
the 30-year anniversary, and then David Coverdale said later, no, it's not going to happen. And I have a really great soundboard show from Japan.
Yeah.
Coverdale
Yeah, I do
Page.
too.
Dude, that shit sounds amazing. I would have loved to them add something like that, like live show. And I absolutely love that album. I have it on CD. CD sounds fine. I'm not anti CD. I'm happy I have it, but man, I would love to have the vinyl. Now, back in the day, when that CD was new, they did release it on vinyl. One
Really?
vinyl. You know how shitty that must sound? Because that album's like an hour long.
Oh, yeah.
And to fit all that on an album ain't gonna sound good. So the Japanese pressing has 2 vinyls on it. So
Right.
that's great. I love it. I love that album. I think it's the best thing Page has done since Led Zeppelin, and I think it's the best thing Coverdale's done since Burn. Yeah, I like it more than Whitesnake.
Yeah. And I'll go a step further. I think it's better than those two Plant Page albums.
It is, but I gotta say, man, I do like Walking Back to Clarksdale. I think that's a great album.
I like it.
Coverdale,
but
I think much better.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying. But I think there's a lot of contributing factors to this. First and foremost, when this initially happened, Page did this as a fuck you to Robert Plant. Because they were in talks to do this shit, and Plant pulled some Plant shit and backed out. And then he got Coverdale, and that really pissed Plant off because Plant never liked Coverdale. Two, and I think probably the most important, though, that kind of sabotaged this whole thing was when they planned the tour, Page didn't get the offers that he thought deemed worthy of his stature. He envisioned doing this, huge arena tour when the album came out. And then when promoters came back, like, well, we could put you in some, big theaters. And Page's ego couldn't take that. That's when the whole thing got canceled. Piggyback on that, and it also lit a fire under Plant's ass where he said, fine, if you're going to do this, God damn it, we're going to do it. So you had this huge trifecta of things, that pretty much killed this, right out the gate. Now, as far as the reissue thing, from what I heard, it really, like, he was starting to work on it, then COVID happened. And COVID kind of, shut the shit down, and Page just kind of lost interest in it. I don't think it's anything that at this point where Plant could be having anything to do with it because they're never getting back together. So Plant can't give Page that kind of scare. Like, if you do this, I'm not going on Zeppelin tour because it's not happening anyway. So I think Page just doesn't give a shit now. Too old, doesn't give a shit, doesn't want to put the work in. And in reality, I think another thing is there's no way in hell it would sell compared to any of the, Zeppelin reissues. We would buy it up, but the regular Joe on the street, even people who bought the album when it came out probably wouldn't go out and spend box set money on this shit.
Yeah, it
Though
was
we would.
because they really did drop the ball when it came out. It was selling gangbusters. It did really well when it was
Yeah.
brand new, and then the promotion just stopped. It was like, what happened? It just didn't. It just
Yeah.
disappeared, and it was like, wow, how weird that an album that makes money gets a kibosh from the record label. It was Geffen Records.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't think Geffen did it. I think it was more Page,
Probably, you're probably right. I don't know. All
Just
I know is that album's awesome.
yeah. But it's like, you had the factor with it sold, it got mixed reviews, but people did like it. And then, but Page didn't want to play theaters, and Plant's like, okay, I'll come back now. Of course he's gonna drop Coverdale like fucking crazy. And I read an interview with Coverdale where he talks about it, like Page just kind of stopped answering the phone. You know, like once the shit broke down on the American tour, Page just like quit talking, and then next thing you know, you got that unleaded bullshit. So
Oh well,
I think he just pulled like an Ace Frehley, like, oh, I'm gonna make more money over here. Bye.
yeah.
See ya. And it's a smart. If you got a chance, you think you're gonna get Zeppelin back together. Yeah, you'd probably do that.
Well, at least we got an album. I'm happy for that.
Yep. All right. Well, oh shit. I think that's it for the news.
All right.
So I'm gonna let you talk to these good people. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I've got like a heartburn or something. I'm gonna take something. I can't stop burping, and I don't like that. So you talk to the good people. I'll be back.
All right. And by the way, don't get offended that Ian called you good people. Because you guys aren't good. You're like me and Ian. We're all scumbags. I guess I'll talk about how I discovered Slayer. Was a magazine. First time I ever heard of Slayer. It was that infamous picture. I think it was I could be wrong. I think it was Jeff Hanneman's girlfriend at the time, that they're all over her and blood and there's knives. I remember seeing that picture, and then I went to a record store soon after, and I saw Show No Mercy, and I'm looking at the cover. Man, it's badass, and I flip it around, and that vision of Jeff Hanneman with the cross. I have to buy this album. So yeah, I bought it, took it home, played it, and honestly, I didn't get it the first time. It took me a few listens. Got to be honest here. I didn't think it was horrible, but it wasn't grabbing me, And at that time, I loved everything underground, Exciter, Raven, Merciful Fate, Venom. I loved all that shit first listen. Slayer was, I don't know about this record. Yeah, now I worship it, man. It's an awesome album. I wish they would have kept the macabre look, but under the pressure of the thrash bands in San Francisco, they took it off because they went up there playing gigs with that makeup, and they were like, no, 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 no. Those thrashers. You got to take that shit off. But it wasn't like glam makeup. It was macabre looking shit. I thought it looked fucking awesome. I loved it. But unfortunately, the elite, what do you call them? The gatekeepers made them
I'm a gatekeeper.
Made them take off the makeup, and it was lame. I prefer Slayer with the macabre makeup. And yeah, there you go. I told everybody how I discovered Show No Mercy.
Man, Pepto-Bismol, some chalky shit. Beer ain't going down good. You can do this. You can do this. You can do this. All right, Slayer. How I discovered Slayer. Talked about this on the show many times. It was 1980. 86 or 87, I was trying to get like the most evilest shit. I was going through like a Satan phase. Like anything evil I wanted to get. And I bought Rain and Blood and King Diamond Abigail. Didn't like either one. I was like, I ain't feeling this shit. This is some noise. Because I was kind of like, Metallica and Anthrax I could handle. A little bit of Megadeth, but this shit was just like far too crazy. Didn't come back to Slayer until 1990. I was took a trip to California. I was riding around the Sunset Strip listening to K-Nack, and Seasons of the Abyss came on. And I was like, holy fucking shit. That was the new album just came out, and it blew me away. Just blew me away. I was like, oh man, I got to go back, check out the Slayer band. And just to show you where I was at 16 years old, on that trip to California, I bought Seasons of the Abyss, Alice Cooper from the Inside, and Delight. That one with Groove is in the Heart. Good shit.
Oh God, really?
Yeah. Oh, I love that song. Still to this day, I fucking love it. Love it.
Every night I'm going to start praying to God and thanking Him for me not being born when you were born.
You don't like Groove is in the Heart?
Dude, seriously. That shit was released today, you'd be cringing.
I don't know, man. That's some funky bass by Mr. Bootsy Collins.
Dude, honestly, you with your fucking Gadies bullshit.
Yeah, this was 90.
Even worse.
So,
even worse.
Yeah, was a worse era. But anyway, so fell in love with Seasons of the Abyss. Went back, got South of Heaven. Really, dug that. I gave Rain and Blood another chance. Still was a while before it caught on with me. And then I went back and checked out the Metal Blade shit, which you already know I was weird about if it's not a fucking major. And it was just way too raw, too underproduced for me. So I bought it, but I didn't really listen to it all that much. And it wasn't until I just kept getting more and more and more into Slayer, I went back. And now, I mean, that Metal Blade shit to me is fucking godly. Even though, the production leaves a lot to be desired. But, Show No Mercy, Haunt in the Chapel, Live Undead, and fucking Hell Awaits, just like, holy shit. And if anything, I just keep liking it more and more and more as time goes on. Especially Hell Awaits was the one that took me the longest to get into. And now I just think that shit's fucking incredible. But I'm trying to think of a time frame here of when I really started appreciating the Metal Blade stuff. Was probably mid to late 90s. I mean, once I got onto Slayer with Seasons, I was still everything that was new. I got and I liked. Divine Intervention took me a little bit to get into. Liked all the other shit.
I still don't like that album.
Yeah, it's got its moments. There's stuff I really like, and then there's other stuff I'm like, it's a little undercooked. I think that was them trying to like, oh, we can still be aggressive without Lombardo. It's not going to change anything. We're going to do another, Rain and Blood, but the songs weren't there. It had the attitude and the shortness, but I don't think the songs, stood up as well. But there's shit I do love. But anyway, yes, Slayer. And now Slayer is my favorite of the big four by far. By far. They're definitely the fucking heaviest. And, there's a lot of people who can't listen to Diablos. I know you're one of them. But other than that, I think, you like everything else, just not as much as the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Saw them live many times. They always brought it, Lucky enough to see them, a bunch of times with Hanneman, and then when Lombardo came back. But I'm not a Bostoff hater, and I thought Gary Holt did great with him live. I wish they would have let Gary be more involved in Repentless. I think it would have been a better one. I still don't think it's bad, but Henneman was always my favorite in Slayer, and his songs. When I started paying attention to who wrote what, 9 times out of 10, all my favorite songs were Henneman songs. So I think Carrie could have used the help. I think it would have made the album a little bit more dynamic. But it's fucking Slayer, man. I love this shit. And spoiler alert, I love this fucking album. And it's coming up on the 40th anniversary of this shit. Can you believe 40 fucking years of fucking Slayer?
Early 84, right?
No, this came out in late 83.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, December 3rd, 1983. So we're almost exactly at 40 years.
I bought it back then. I bought it when it was new.
And then you look at this is one of those that's very unique in Slayer's catalog, because there's no other Slayer album that sounds remotely like this. Kind of like how you are with Anthrax, and there's no Anthrax album that sounds like Fistful of Metal.
That was Anthrax being metal.
And we differ on opinion there, but I mean, we can both agree that that's a sound they never had again.
Yeah, their best sound.
The same with Slayer. Shortly, I mean, just months after this, they released "Haunt in the Chapel," which is, I mean, just holy fuck, what a jump forward, And then you got "Live Undead" and "Hell Awaits" is like holy, 10 times more, and then by the time you get to Rain Blood, fucking forget about it. But I know a lot of people who don't like Slayer, believe it or not.
They're fags, as in they suck cock.
Well, I was just gonna say, and it's mostly at the gay bars I hang out at. Like where I see Bushy and Mark and the other Hagar fans. But where else are you gonna find men with no gag reflex? So yeah, I just fucking love this shit. And spoiler alert, I would say this is my second favorite debut of the Big Four. What says you, Ralph?
Yeah, I like Kill 'Em All more.
Yeah.
I love this album. Unlike you, at that time, I was looking for albums from Metal Blade and Combat Records, and I love that dirty sound. Now, the interesting thing about Show No Mercy is when they recorded it, Dave Lombardo had to go back in the studio and record him hitting the cymbals. You know how difficult that is?
Yeah.
Cymbals for the whole album. But I love it. I can't tell bad production. I mean, sometimes I could, and I still love the production, even if it's bad. I said it already, you were in the bathroom. I didn't get this album right away. When I first put it on, I didn't know what to think about it. I wasn't sure. But I kept giving it chances. And yeah, it did grow on me. And then when I bought "Haunt in the Chapel," which is my favorite Slayer release, they were unstoppable for me. They were my band. When everybody else was going with Turbo and Somewhere in Time and Ultimate Sin, I went to Slayer. I went to Metallica. I went to Destruction. I went to Sodom. I mean, that music is what, I was a metalhead, dude. I'm a true metalhead. And when it got to the little, Motley Crue, Theater of Pain fucking up everything for all these bands, all this wave of metal came in that I just jumped on that and said, bye-bye to your little fucking, heaven can't wait, heaven can't wait, heaven can't wait. Fuck you. Hell awaits. That's where I'm going, man. So,
well, I guess when you went to Sodom, the rest of us all went to Sodomy.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Sodomy.
Quick question. You say when you got this, you didn't necessarily get it at first. Were you already aware or into Venom at that time?
Yeah, I was talking about that earlier. I already owned Welcome to Hell. I already owned the first Merciful Fate EP and Melissa. I already owned Raven. I already owned Exciter. I owned a lot of that underground shit. You know, Anvil, Motorhead, all that stuff. I had before Slayer. I don't know. Slayer was a weird. It didn't take me that long to grab me. I gotta say, first few listens, I was like, I don't know about this, but I kept giving it chances over and over again. And it was really, the first song that really grabbed me off this album was Black Magic. That's the one that,
did,
even the first time I heard it, I was like, wow, I like that song,
Did you know about him already from Metal Massacre before you got it? You knew Aggressive Perfector?
No, I wasn't aware of Metal Massacre, but I was aware of Slayer because in magazines they had that infamous picture of them hovering over Jeff Hanneman's girlfriend with her full of blood. You know that famous
Yeah.
picture?
Yeah.
I've seen that picture before I bought the album. But like I said earlier, I went to the store, I saw the album, and when I turned the album over and I saw Jeff Hanneman holding that cross on the guitar, I had to buy the album. Had to buy it. I mean, look, I am not a Satanist. I do not practice, nor do I want to practice Satanism. But god damn, do I love a song that praises the Dark Lord. It's true, man. I mean, songs that praise Satan are fucking awesome. They're just awesome. Doesn't make me want to go worship the guy, but I love hearing it. I get a charge out of that. And yeah, Slayer did it.
And at the same time, you love Stryper too. You're a very complex man, Ralph.
Well, Stryper, you see, and here's the thing: Stryper, like when they're singing "Jesus God," it doesn't pump me up like when I hear, all hail Satan.
Yeah.
And that's why I like later Stryper more because they ain't hitting me over the head with Jesus God, Jesus God. They're still singing about Jesus and God, but they're a little more clever and they don't, do it so blatant. So blatantly talking about God doesn't do it for me like songs that blatantly talk about Satan.
Fair enough. All right. Well, why don't you take the opening track on this metal opus?
Evil Has No Boundaries is
Yeah.
a fucking classic. And if you go on YouTube, type in Thrasher Die, Evil Has No Boundaries. We played it a few times. And it's up on YouTube. What can I say? What an awesome song with Tom Araya's scream kicking it all in. And, fuck, man. A classic, stone cold classic. Evil Has No Boundaries. It's definitely, what you're in for when you play this album. You hear that song, it's like, this song is 100% Slayer. No two ways about it. I love it. I love Evil Has No Boundaries.
Oh yeah. Well, I love it too. And from the beginning, you've got that scream and those guitars, man. Slayer is fucking here. And I think this more so than probably this is the only one where I really think you hear their influences at the time. I think from Haunting the Chapel on, it's full blown Slayer and their own unique sound. But you hear a lot of influences on this. And I hear a lot of Venom in this one. And I love it. Perfect way to open up the album. And yeah, I mean, Evil Has No Boundaries. This is one, I don't think I ever heard him play this. I don't think so. Did you ever see him play it?
No, I've never seen him play this song.
Yeah, I think I've heard a few off of this, maybe two, but never heard this one. Loved it. Would have loved to seen it in the set list. All right, I'll take the next one, the Antichrist. Once again, here I get major Judas Priest vibes, and this was Priest was a band that Carrie and Jeff both bonded over, and I believe they played a lot of Priest Maiden covers and stuff when they first started out. And I totally get that on this one. This one, I think I might have seen him play live. But stone cold classic, man. And just it's cool, the new wave of British heavy metal that you hear on this album that you'll never hear again. classic fucking track that I'm glad that they did keep around. What do you think?
Oh yeah, it's like if ever there was a single on this album, it'd be this song. It's catchy. It's I can see a guy that doesn't like Slayer like this song because it's a little very upfront. Not it's just a ripping tune. And yes, I saw first time I saw Slayer was South of Heaven, and they played this that night. Nice. They also played it on the Seasons tour as well. Antichrist is amazing. It's one of my favorites. Probably my second favorite song on this album. My all-time favorite Slayer song is on this album.
Yes, I do know that.
The deep track.
Yes, it is.
Then they say the next song is that they say the pen is mightier than the sword. I say fuck the pen because you die by the sword.
Fuck yeah.
This would be the second single off the album. Ripping. I love those riffs. That die by the sword. And that middle section, that crunchy gun, 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 gun. Metal to the core. Hey, you cannot like this song if you don't like metal. If you are a fan of heavy metal, you will love Die by the Sword and Antichrist. You may not like Slayer, but those two songs, if you're into metal, you'll love those songs. I love Die by the Sword. It's classic. Always play, by the way. Every time I've seen them, there's a lot of times this is the only song they play from.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a song that's always played too live.
Well, this is the one that will finally debunk this horrible rumor you spread about me that I hate metal. Because I absolutely love this. And depending on the day, I go back and forth on whether this is my favorite off the album. Today, I think it is my favorite. Fuck yeah. Punky and new wave of British heavy metal at the same time. And I love that fucking breakdown in the song. I mean, it's just, I love that you can hear all the elements, all the influences, but they're still taking it like in a whole nother direction. And yeah, if you don't like this, you don't like Slayer or metal, pure and simple. Fuck yeah. Excuse me. I'll take the next one. Fight to Death. Now this one I find odd because of who this sounds like to me. And I hear this one, and I hear major Metallica vibes on this one. It reminds me of Kill 'Em All. I mean, I know they both came out in the same year, and I'm sure they saw each other playing at clubs. But, this is the one where I don't hear Priest, I don't hear Maidem, I don't hear Venom. I hear Kill 'Em All era Metallica. And that is not a bad thing, because this song fucking kicks ass. What do you think about Fight to Death?
Fucking beautiful song. Awesome. Where, I gotta tell you, man, the best time I ever saw Slayer was when they were doing that Rain and Blood tour.
I saw that.
Not in '86, that later one.
Right, yeah, where the blood came down on them.
Yeah. They played Fight Till Death that night. And they played At Dawn They Sleep.
Yeah.
They were throwing out some rare gems that night, but this song fucking owns. Ripping fast. To me, this sounds like Slayer. This is like Slayer right here. Fight Till Death, classic. Next is Face the Slayer, Face the Storm.
Metal Storm, Face the Slayer.
Don't get it twisted. Let's cut the deck and then shit on the deck, okay? This song is awesome. It's a little half-cooked, though. I think it should have been a little more. I don't think it's really fleshed out that well. But either way, it's very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like juvenile, like, hey, let's just do a real heavy metal song, man. And I love it for that. I love the conviction and stuff, but I feel this is a song that could have been better. That's how I feel about my least favorite song on the album too.
Wow.
I don't hate
Interesting take.
I don't hate it.
Interesting take. Because this is the one that I say goes back and forth. Between this and Die by the Sword is my favorite. I absolutely love this one, and I love the way it stands out. I love the primitive, like, metal of it. And this is the most like just regular metal sounding song I think they have in their entire catalog. But at the same time, it's so metal. This shit made fucking Manowar piss their fucking Tarzan costumes. I mean, this shit, I fucking love it. I love the intro. Even though you know how I'm weird about, naming the intro something different, I think I always give Hellion and Electric Eye the pass, but everything else I'm suspect on. But this one, I fucking, oh, do I love this song. And holy fuck, is this a perfect, like, first side. As much as I do love this album, I believe it's front loaded. My favorite songs are definitely on the first side. But yeah, I think this one is killer, and it's neat to hear him play something like again, that this just sounds like traditional metal to me, and I dig it. But I do get what you said about the juvenileness of it. There is something about it sounds like this is the first song they wrote, and then they became Slayer, but they kept this one around because it was the first song they wrote, kind of shit. But yeah, I love it. Then we'll flip this bad boy over, and it opens up with Black Magic. Oh, evil as fuck. 6 songs into this fucking album, and in my opinion, not a bad track, and they're not letting up. Black Magic is one that would go in and out of the set over the years. I have seen him play this one live, and I love it. Like you were talking about how the same shit pumps you up. There is just everything about this song is evil. And just like the title, this is some black magic. Holy fucking shit. Killer way to open up side 2. What do you think?
Yeah, this I probably said Antichrist. No, this is my second favorite song off the album. And when I first bought the album, I couldn't get into it except for this song. This song grabbed me on first listen. And I still think, it's my second favorite on here. I love the build up. And I usually don't like songs that are quiet and build up, but I think this one deserves it. It deserves that build up with the guitars and the bass coming in. It's just amazing. An amazing song. I love Black Magic, and yes, I've seen them play this a ton of times. Classic Slayer right here. Then we go to the Tormentor next.
Yes, sir.
Another great one. It's a deep track. Love the guitar solo on this. The guitar solo is fucking awesome. And they're not really known for great guitar solos. But I think their best guitar solos are really in the Metal Blade albums. And this one, and it's fucking awesome. Tormentor rules. I love it. What do you think?
I do like this song, but if I had to pick a least favorite, it would probably be this. And there's nothing really that I can pinpoint on why that is, but I think like the perfect telltale to that is when I was doing my notes for this, and I listened to this like fucking 3 or 4 times today. This is the one where I had to go back and realize like, oh shit, I forgot to take notes on it because I kind of didn't notice that the song had changed. And I went back and listened. I'm like, why did that happen? Why did it not grab my attention like everything else? And I went back and like, okay, sit down, listen to it. I dug it. I like it, but there's still there. I don't know what it is about it, but it just didn't grab me like the 6 that came before it. But there's nothing offensive about it. I dig it, but would be my least favorite. It's an album track to me. Yeah, I don't even know if they ever played this live.
Yeah, they did back in the early days. This whole album was played live in the early club days.
I'd be surprised if it made it past the tour for this album.
No, yeah, I probably didn't, but yeah, I have this really cool Slayer show from Woodstock, California, where they play this whole album plus Ice Titans, an unreleased song, and Aggressive Perfector were all played at that show.
Nice. Right on. Uh, let's see. All right. Is it my turn to go next or your turn?
Yeah, you go next. I'll be right in this room. I ain't going nowhere. I'm just grabbing something over
All right. Final command. Um, a simple and solid album track to me. Uh, again, and I don't know if it's because it comes after one that I was kind of didn't hate but lukewarm about. But this is another one I think it's okay. It's good, but doesn't grab me. Um, the way the first six did. And I think that's why, like if I'm comparing, debuts from the big four, because there's plenty of other great thrash debuts, but if we're talking about the big four, of course, Kill 'Em All is my favorite. Uh, and that's because I think every song, is a certain level, even though, I would have to pick the least on that, but I think they're all at a certain level where this one has a couple of what I would call album tracks. Again, not a bad song, not as good as what came before. That's why I think this album's pretty front loaded. What do you think of Last Command? Or not Last
there.
Command?
Love it. Another great guitar solo on this one. I love it. I feel like this song and Tormentor are both fleshed out. I don't think anything should change on it. I think they're just classic metallic tunes on here. And I love it. Is the next one Cryonics?
Yes, it is.
My all-time favorite Slayer song. Best song on this album and best song on any Slayer album. Always been my favorite when this album finally, I mean, it's very close to Chemical Warfare. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, Chemical Warfare is right there with it. But there's something about Chronics that it's different than any Slayer song. It's almost a melody with the vocals on it. Love it. Everything I love. It's more traditional metal than Slayer. It's the most traditional metal Slayer song there is. Chronics is fucking awesome. My all-time favorite Slayer song. There you go.
Awesome. Well, I definitely dig it. Not as much as you, but I mean, I've known shit. You told me this when you first started doing the show, damn near a decade ago, that this was your favorite, and that always struck me as kind of weird because it's like, yeah, I remember Cryonics, but I didn't remember it like as much as the other songs on this album. And as I'm listening to it today, I'm trying to like, okay, what is it about this that makes this Ralph's favorite? Not only off this album, but Slayer song of all time. And I'm listening and listening. And then it gets to that middle section. And I think that's the part, the middle section and the outro to this is what I think takes this song over the top uh, and completes it. I wasn't hearing it at first, man, but man, when it gets to that middle breakdown and the guitar work and the ending of it, it's one of those where, man, I didn't want this song to end because it just keeps building and building and building and building and building, and it just never comes down, but it stops. And you're like, no, fuck, keep going. This is when you want like a maiden length track. I wish this was their Empire of the Clouds, but it's not. I mean, they, and for probably, wise decision, they knew when to fucking end it. But I love it. It's not my favorite of all time, but I definitely dig it. And the second half of this song, I totally get your love for it based on just that alone. Um, and then we'll go with the ending track, the title track, "Show No Mercy." Fuck, I love that one. I love it. To me, it like the album ends on such a high note because of the second half of Cryonics, and then it goes into this. And to me, this is just as like you know important and as catchy and good as side one. Um, Again, another song I never heard him play live. Uh, but man, I dig the shit out of Show No Mercy. Great way to end it. And again, a weird ending because you would never hear this type of Slayer again. What do you think?
Love it. Love it. Great ending. Fits the album perfectly. It's killer metal. What can I say, man? This Show No Mercy song, amazing. Fits the album perfectly. Whole album rules. Absolutely love it. Great album. Show No Mercy. Slayer.
40 years. Holy shit. Where does the time go?
Yep.
All right. Well, that is our review. This was released December 3rd, 1983. Recorded in November of 83. So, man, they just got this done and put it out on the shelves. It would go on to be, at that time, the biggest selling Metal Blade album. And that's why Slagle got him back in the studio right away to do, Chemical Warfare and, Live Undead and all this shit. Because it's like, man, people were loving this Slayer shit. Produced by Slayer and Brian Slagle. And kind of I don't know, a controversial take. I think Ralph will probably disagree with me on this big time, but this is one I would have loved to hear him re-record, and not like right at the end. I'm thinking, man, if they would have done this around, like South of Heaven or Seasons era, when they had Rick Rubin, who was still like paying attention and doing good production with them, I would have loved to hear these tracks fattened up with a better, with a better sound. And I think Araya is one of those rare vocalists who I think he got better with age. I mean, I think his voice really just kept, it was still strong at the end, but with each release, I liked where he was going and liked his vocals. But so often when you get these re-recordings, they're absolutely terrible. So maybe I'm way off on it, but nobody wants a fucking Still Hungry. But I think like late 80s, early 90s Slayer, like, with the original lineup, I would have loved to hear them, tackle these again. And Lombardo said as much himself because of his disdain for the drum tracks on this. But he also said, but who knows? Fuck it. It is what it is. And I love it. What do you think?
Well, they re-recorded Aggressive Perfector, and it wasn't as good as the Metal Blade version and my version, and that was very cleaned up, Rick Rubin style.
Yeah.
I'll take the Metal Massacre version any day.
I like them both. I like the re-record.
I like the original more. Oh, I don't dislike it, but yeah. I like the original much more.
Oh, right on.
It's got a human element, Not everything's got to be so goddamn perfect. I love that's why I love 70 Sabbath. It's so organic. And that's how Slayer was. That's how Dave Lombardo, right there, Dave Lombardo. Bostoff's a great drummer, but he's too precise, man. Lombardo was like Bill Ward all over the fucking place. He was unorthodox. He had a vibe that you heard him, you knew it was Dave Lombardo. Bostoff is just a great drummer, like any other great drummer.
True.
So Lombardo is what makes Slayer for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, here's another hot take. I know you'll make fun of me for this. Chemical Warfare's. I love Chemical Warfare, but it's my least favorite on Hunt in the Chapel. I like Captor of Sin and Hunt in the Chapel and Aggressive Perfector more.
Okay.
And I'm probably the only
dude. You got to live with it, not me.
Yeah, true. I know probably nobody else has ever said that, but I was thinking that today because I had some time left over. It's like, fuck, I'm listening to fucking, Hunt in the Chapel. And I love, Chemical Warfare. Don't get me wrong. But it was always one of those, I don't know, and they always played Chemical Warfare, But man, I love Captor of Sin. I don't know. I think they might have played it one time when I saw Slayer.
Oh no, they played Captor of Sin a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying. Boy, those were some wild days when I was seeing Slayer back then. I love Captor of Sin.
That's I love it too. I love the whole EP. It's my favorite Slayer release.
Yeah. Man, don't even get me fucking started on Hell Awaits, man. That's still to this day every time I listen to it, because originally I was like, let's do Hell Awaits, and I'm listening to it on the way to work. So I'm like, fuck yeah, Slayer. And I'm like, I kind of remember talking about this song. And I looked up like, shit, we did it. We did Chemical Warfare and or we did a Hunt in the Chapel and Hell Awaits. And we might have even discussed this one too, but who gives a fuck? We're redoing it. It's the 40th anniversary. It's fucking Slayer. Slayer!
Yeah.
All right. Well, now it's time to go on pick of the week. Ralph, do you have a pick of the week?
You go.
All right. And I'm going to do what Ralph hates. I have two, but they're by the same band, which is Slayer. And the first one I'm going to pick, I think, if there is anybody out there that's like a holdover yet, like, I ain't getting on the Slayer train. I think a really good introduction to him is South of Heaven. I think more so even than Rain and Blood or this or, Seasons. I think if you're kind of new to this shit, South of Heaven, if you get South of Heaven, it's a good building block. And then it just gets better from there. But I still love that album. I mean, it's a kind of a 180 from Rain and Blood, but not like in a like load reload Black Album kind of way. They just decided, what do you do after Rain and Blood, and they slowed it down. But the songwriting, oh man, Behind the Crooked Cross, the title track, Mandatory Suicide,
Ghost of War.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. And so that's my first pick. And my second pick is a live album that doesn't get talked nearly enough, and that's Decade of Aggression, recorded on the Seasons of the Abyss tour in Lakeland, Florida. The first disc is all from Lakeland. Man, just Slayer in their fucking prime right before, Lombardo would leave, for the big tenure. I think it's a great live album. Sounds great. The set list is killer. Just a great mix, man. I think there's like 2 or 3 songs off this album on there. I think Black Magic is on there. Die by the Sword. Antichrist, I think, is on there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Then it opens up with Hell Awaits. Real good live album, in my opinion. So yeah, I would check out those 2.
That Lakeland show was the show before I saw the final show of the Thrashing Titans, which was in Miami on July 14th. The reason I remember July 14th is because that's my mom's birthday.
Oh.
Yeah, I have a very rare metal box version of that live.
Oh, yeah?
That brings, I know one of the there's a couple bonus tracks. One of them, Skeletons of Society.
Yeah.
I know there's another song on there that didn't come out on the original one.
Yeah. Hold on.
Maybe Hallowed Point. It was probably Hallowed Point.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. Because it was on the Japanese edition and the At Dawn They Sleep.
There you go.
And Skeletons of Society. Yeah.
Yep. That rare metal. And it even brings authenticity, a little thing of authenticity.
Yeah, and the Lakeland show was July 13th, 1991.
Yeah, the very last show of the Thrash of the Titans was in Miami, and something infamous happened while Slayer was doing the last song, Angel of Death. A big fish was lowered down in front of Tom Araya, and that was Anthrax doing a prank on them.
Man, I remember I bought that like right when it came out. And this is back in the days when CDs still came in the long boxes and shit.
Still have that long box.
Yeah. And the booklet that came with it was a long box book.
Yep. I got all of it.
Yeah, I still got that myself. Man, amazing shit, man. I think back to how, man, once I got into Seasons, I was like, holy fuck, man. Ever since, man, Slayer.
That's my last favorite Slayer album, but I hate Dead Skin Mask. I hate that fucking
Really?
And they play it all the time. I can't stand it.
Oh, yeah. I love it, but it's one of those like
bores me, man.
I love it, but I wish it would have got taken out of the set list just to make room for another classic because it did get overplayed. I will agree with you there. All right, what's your pick of the week, Ralph?
Well, I'll stay with Slayer. My favorite Slayer release, Haunting the Chapel. Didn't bring Aggressive Perfector till later on copies. My first copy was only 3 songs. And yes, Haunting the Chapel, Captor of Sin, and Chemical Warfare. That EP to me is like the perfect bridge of Show No Mercy to Hell Awaits. It's got a vibe of both those albums in those 3 songs. And I can't get enough, man. I love that album. And when it comes to Chemical Warfare, to me, that's their Stairway to Heaven. That's their Freebird. I think that's their greatest, that and Cryonics. I mean, I like Cryonics more, but I feel like that's their greatest opus, I would say. That's probably the one that Rick Rubin heard and said, holy fuck, I need these guys.
Yeah.
Chemical Warfare rules. And a shout out to the Ultimate Revenge home video where they play Chemical Warfare.
Oh, yeah, the one with Venom and Exodus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's my Exodus with Paul Bailoff. Piranha, Exodus, what's the other one? Metal Command and Strike of the Beast. Bonded by Blood has never been topped, in my opinion. And Bonded by Blood, I'd put over Killing Is My Business. I'd put it over Show No Mercy. I wouldn't put it over Kill 'Em All, but I'd put it right there with Kill 'Em All. Better than Fistful of Metal, Killing My Business. I think it's pretty much the best out of the big 4 is Bonded by Blood. What a fucking masterpiece of an album.
That is some good shit there. All right, well now I'm going to go into fan of the week, and I got a feeling Ralph and I are going to have 2 different fans of the week because he's not going to agree with mine. But I'm going to do one in honor of a person who, after this weekend, is probably going to quit podcasting. And this person loves our show as much as he loves to bitch. Boy, this motherfucker doesn't miss an episode. Kind of reminds me of somebody else. Say all the hate you want, but you sure know what's going on every fucking week. Mark Alden Taylor. This guy's been listening to our show for a long time. I know he loves the show. And he's a goofy son of a bitch, and I'm going to tell him so Sunday when I'm on there. But I know he likes the show. And I just hope after that episode, he doesn't do something too drastic, But at the same time, I hope he quits podcasting.
He's not going to quit podcasting. And it doesn't matter if he quits or not. It's not like anybody listens. He can keep doing his stupid podcast. I mean, it's just going to be floating on the interwebs.
But he is the funniest kind of listener. It's the one who hates us but can't stop listening.
Yeah, he doesn't hate you, Ian, and you're the one that hates him more than I do.
Yeah, he doesn't hate me now. Let's see what happens Sunday.
We'll see.
Because I tend to be...
when I went on his show, I let him have it, and it didn't change him at all. He's a poser. He was pretending on the show. Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm an asshole. I got to stop that. You're right. And then he continues to do it afterwards. Guy's a piece of shit. Oh, Ralph treated me bad. Ralph treated me bad in Nashville. Oh, me. Nobody treated you bad in Nashville. You only bring that up because you're a little sissy boy that loves drama and loves causing bullshit. Everybody knows it. Ian knows it. Chuck Charles knows it. Chris Cisnak. Everybody that was around us, nobody saw me treat you badly in Nashville. Nobody. And I was never alone with your dumbass. I was always hanging out with the guys when you were there. And I never said anything bad to Mark or started anything. Then he has to go, Ralph treated me bad in Nashville. Pussy ass bitch.
And, and one thing I'll add to that, is as good as you did treat him in Nashville, you treated his wife even better.
No comment.
Girls got rhythm.
That girl was cool. I liked his girlfriend. She should do a show. She's got personality.
She was nice. She was nice. I feel bad she lost that bet, but nice person. Nice girl. All right. Is there somebody else you would like to mention?
Yeah, I got a fan of the week. My fan of the week is Mark Allen Taylor.
oh, the other side to the two faces?
Yeah, there you go. The other face of Mark Allen Taylor. The one that just loves to lie. But then again, he's a Sammy Hagar fan. Sammy Hagar fans love to lie. They look up to their idol and they lie like him. And he is a complete bullshit artist that lies constantly, and he's a poser. And Chuck Charles, I influenced him to leave your stupid show.
There you go. All right. Well, this was kind of a short episode, but I'm going to take care of my indigestion. And hey, man, you just got a bunch of shows back to back to back, and this one will be up probably tomorrow. We're already talking about recording next week. So if you enjoyed this Slayer episode, come back next week to the Rock and Metal Combat Podcast.
Magamagab.
Satan!